Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. It is that time of year again, cuffing season in full swing. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the term, whether you do it or not, it refers to the period during the fall and winter months when single people actively seek out short-term romantic relationships to spend the colder months with. This is typically around October, and it lasts until Valentine's Day. Are you doing it? Is it for you? What are the pros and the cons of this phenomenon? Well, joining me to talk about this are Stacey J. Johnson, relationship expert and host of Put a Ring on It on OWN, Jessica Brown, founder and president of the College Girl Foundation. She's 34 years old and she's single. And Jack A. Daniels, psychotherapist and founder of the Good Men Club. Sorry, ladies, Jack is married. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you all for joining this conversation. Let me start with Stacey.
Really?
Yeah, why not? Come on.
Okay.
I only have you for 30 minutes, so we got to get it all the way in. With you, what is your opinion of cuffing season? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a grown a woman thing, a gaw thing? How would you characterize it?
Well, it's one of those fads that we find off of social media that people have created to honestly not really feed into the positivity of connection. I mean, there should not be a time of year that we look to connect. I mean, of course, the weather wants you to be a little warmer, right? But then if you're only using that objective as a way of coming together, where then do you have to go after cuffing season? So I'm one to push back at all these social media, the ghosting, girl, he just don't like you. He didn't ghost you. He just don't like you. All of these things, these terms that don't have anything to do with really forming lasting connection. I would tend to, it was interesting when you asked me to come on and talk about this, because I am not a believer in, connecting temporarily, just because it's cold outside, it's cold, so everybody else is doing it and I need a Thanksgiving date. Well, what were you thinking about? What were you thinking about before this season? Were you making decisions to get the tools to understand how to live in your divine feminine so that you can become more attractive to a man who then you could then have someone in your life during cuffing season? Or is this just something that you're doing temporary? Where's your intention? So I'm not a fan of the term. Neither am I a fan of any of those social media projections on relationships. I'm really about helping women and men with the tools to create, cultivate, and keep healthy romantic love. And what do you have to do that? I'm the conduit to help you get to the bottom of whatever characteristics in you that don't serve that, rather than let me just meet and hook up because I need somebody for Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's very
but the other thing though is, have you seen Jessica's utility bill during the winter? I mean, it's just
I can't stand you.
Jessica is the queen of if it's not free, it's not for me. And so
right.
No, but
what you gonna do with him, girl?
all jokes aside though, Jessica, as a professional, intelligent, well-educated woman in these single streets, is cuffing season, is that a thing that you are an advocate of, or are you more like Stacey, just kind of no, not for you? What do you think?
Well, I have a situation. I do have a man. I just keep things on the low.
Of course.
But
minding the business that warms you.
Very mindful, very demure, very cutesy.
Okay, come on, cutesy.
What I will say in terms of cuffing season is I've never been a believer of any of that. Because first off, I mean, ain't nobody gonna want to leave this. Period. So, this is not just winter. They want me winter, spring, summer, fall, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. Okay. But cuffing season, I just don't understand it. And honestly, I just think, like Dr. Stacy said, people lack emotional connection. They're too scared, right? Like right when it gets to cuffing season and they really realize, oh my God, I really like this person, they back off, because they weren't ready for that. They thought that maybe this was going to be a one-time thing, and it went over that, and now they don't know what to do because maybe you're too much man or you're too much woman. So I feel like cuffing season should never be a season. Love me every single day of the year. Get out of my way, because guess what? There's somebody else out there for me that wants to be with me every season.
Okay. I hear that. I hear the black girl magic there. The magnificent feminine blackness there. So, Jack, obviously, you've spoken to some of your clients as it relates to therapy about this issue. What are they saying to you?
Cuffing season, and I'm in agreement with everyone that has already spoken about this. I think cuffing season is nothing more for a man, and in men's minds, cuffing season is nothing more than convenient coochie.
If maybe could I drop my mic? I'm talking like I think the mic has just been dropped.
Yeah, it ain't nothing but convenient coochie.
You say about the coochie again? It's convenient coochie.
It's a convenient coochie play for a lot of men who have the opportunity. This is big back season too.
Oh Lord!
This is
big back season.
Oh Lord!
Go ahead. No. I want you to expound. I know it's not.
Please.
Please expound on big back season.
You looking for somebody big that you can cuddle with and keep
to get their tax return, to get their refund.
The big boys are in season right now. They keep you warm. But let me say this. Cuffing season is nothing more than an excuse to not commit. It's a convenience for people to cop out of an opportunity to really truly get to know someone, because they don't have the chance and the ability and the capacity sometimes to dive deeper inside of themselves and be vulnerable enough to commit to someone past Valentine's Day. Maybe it's a convenience for the holidays. It's a convenience because you don't want to be alone on New Year's Eve, on Christmas. Now, you got it. It's going to cost you.
I was about to say, you got to buy gifts.
But it comes with some of the benefits. You got a lot of benefits that come with and that kind of outweigh some of the risk. You got home cooked meals. You got somebody to you got somebody to sit and watch Netflix with, and somebody to cuddle with, somebody to keep your clothes clean, and to keep you off the streets because it's cold at night. So,
and then after a certain month or a certain holiday, all that goes to hell in a handbasket. What did you have really?
You didn't have anything. It's a convenience. It's an extreme convenience. And I would say that most people that are caught in cuffing season situationships, I tell you that, like, figure out what you want to do in the beginning. Figure out a way to ask yourself, is this person truly meant for me, or am I settling for someone as just a placeholder?
Interesting. So, I guess, are there some people who may enter into a cuffing situationship, Stacy, that unintentionally, in other words, they know that this is also the social season. I mean, this is the season for theater. It is the season for parties and everything else. And you kind of look up in fall and you don't have someone because you've been working, vacationing, doing, whatever. And then you decide, hey, I'd like to have a friend escort me to an event. I mean, in all transparency, I remember, I don't know, about a year or so ago, a wonderful sister friend of mine, she was single, and we have a platonic relationship for years, and it still is, but she asked me to escort her to an event. I wasn't available, and I wasn't thinking about it in the sense of cuffing season, but I would imagine, Stacey, that sometimes you may want somebody who will show up well
Absolutely.
with you, for that, but then you have a little bit too much champagne, and then all of a sudden you look at your wrist and you've got
what's going on with the wrist, though, Harold?
it was cuffing.
Oh, okay. I'm saying, what happened that night after that champagne?
No.
I mean, we about to talk about a whole different show.
It's a whole different show. Yes, I know. But no, but you end up in that social season cuffing by accident.
But then if you're asking those questions, if you're asking the questions and really the intention is not to cuff because you just happen to enjoy a nice time with someone and some champagne and things led to where they led, then your intention to cuff is not there. So hopefully you're asking the questions that are the things that connect you on a deeper level during those 3 months of cuffing season. You see what I'm saying? So if you're still finding out the man's character, what type of character does this man have, and do those characteristics align with yours? And I'm not talking about big feet and, nice cars, big feet are good. My fiance, that's a lot of information. Anyway,
that's a lot of information.
Hold on, let me come back present.
Okay. It's a Friday. It's a Friday.
Anyway, but those things are important. But if that is what's determining if you're staying or not, meaning the size of his feet, what kind of car does he have, his 6-figure or not income. But if you're really using that time to actually form connection and get to know someone and learning what they have as opposed to what you want and how those intertwine, then that's something else. I'm a connection girl. I'm for real, authentic connection. And I am definitely for women understanding how to live in their divine feminine, although we have to be masculine at work and with our children, but really when to bring that back, because I do believe that sometimes, not even just cuffing season, but women, we fall into, but he's not responding to me the way I need him to. But how are you showing up? And that's how are you showing up even during cuffing season? Not in your cooking, not in your coochie work, coochie, the whatever coochie convenience that Jack so eloquently opened to show up with. But really, how are you all connecting outside of that? Not cooking, cleaning, or anything. Do you and him have the same value system? And then we're cuffing and we're making progress with possibly the possibility of something after, which for me works way more than some 3 months. Because, if you're not asking the right questions, and then, it will be a cuffing season. Because I do believe, Jack, and I have to say this, those men who want that convenient coochie, I believe that there's some good men out there. And yes, if they even want the convenient coochie, if they saw something that mattered, if something showed up differently, meaning that woman, I believe, and Jack, I want to ask you, that man could possibly change that convenient coochie cuffing season time to really see the woman that's sitting across from him and go, wow, this is actually something different than I thought it was going to be. But I'm not a man, so that's why I asked Jack.
Well, before you answer that question, Jack, and I'll let you answer it on the other side, I am going to take a break, but don't forget, you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Inside segment via podcast on WHUR.com, our website, and I know you're going to want to tune into what we're talking about here. But don't forget the original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon. That's next on WHUR. I'm Harold Fisher. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our discussion about cuffing season. My guests are Jessica Brown, founder and president of the College Girl Foundation. She is a 34-year-old single woman. Also, Jack A. Daniels, psychotherapist and founder of the Good Men's Club, as well as Dr. Stacey J. Johnson, relationship expert and host of Put a Ring on It on OWN. Before the break, Jack, Stacey was asking your opinion about whether or not there could be a transition during cuffing season from a man's perspective.
Yeah, it depends on the man. It totally depends on the man. It has nothing. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with the woman, but it totally depends on what type of man that you date. Now, there's certain men that you need to stay away from, and you can kind of tell if it's going to be a problem or a purpose situation, depending on that type of man. So I think I always say it's three types of men. It's the peacock, the project, and the penis. Peacock, the project, and the penis. Now, the peacock loves to be seen. Puts on a real big show. His appearance actually matters. He also likes to collect and display trophies that make him look good and feel good about himself. That's the peacock. Now, the peacock probably loves the convenient coochie, right? Because he loves to go to a lot of the events and have somebody on his arm. He loves that situation. So he may not be the one that's going to actually commit. The project is the Build-A-Bear type guy. He's the build a man. He's Mr. Potential. He's always about to do something. I'm in between jobs. I'm going through a divorce. I'm fresh out of jail. I'm about to start a business.
He said fresh out of jail. I wasn't expecting that. Go ahead.
He's waiting for his chance to blow up and do his thing, and he needs your help to do it. So this is when a woman becomes a fixer. And if it's that type of man, you got to realize that he's broken and it ain't your job to fix him. The penis, now he's the one thing. Now he's good for one thing, and that's breaking you off when you need it. I get it. It's women that enjoy the exact same thing. Your kitty cat ain't meowed in a while, and you know what? The penis is good, but you got to be careful. The penis is highly addictive and it's known to cause hard times, headaches, and a whole lot of heartbreak. So if you are dating,
oh my,
one of three of them men, you probably ain't gonna have no chance for him to actually commit to you. So it depends on what kind of man that he is. But I recommend that you stay away from the peacock, the project.
So let me ask you this, Jessica. Do you believe that cuffing season there are women or men for that matter? You know a lot of people, you interact with a lot of people. Do you believe that it can work for some people?
Yeah, I mean, for some people whose mind ain't right and who ain't been to a therapist, who don't really have much respect for their coochie or their penis, then yes, But for me, like, I've never been the type of person to, have someone involved in my bed if I don't really talk to them. Like, if we never really went out on real dates, like, I'm not just a girl you're just going to come and drop off packages. There's roses for that. You can go to the store. You can get a collection of all type of hashtag no Diddy toys and baby oil and have a good time by yourself. I ain't got to worry about my health. I know where I've been. I know what I'm doing. So, there's no dropping off of anything. But I do have girlfriends and guy friends that I know a lot of girls that are peacocks and projects and coochie, but I also think that's something that lacks within them personally. Right. There's something that they lack to where as though they can't commit. It's something that they lack to where as though, they can't communicate well with people. They don't know how to deal with heartbreak, or they don't want to. Right. They live with so much fear. So for them, that probably works for them. Right. People are always in and out of their life anyway. So what does it matter? But for me, that doesn't work. I have not high expectations. And if we don't work out, we don't work out. But one thing about me, even when I was super single, I'm not bringing nobody to no award galas that I be going to because my husband could be in there. I'm not bringing Sam to no beach, and I don't want people in my business, because then next thing you know, people are going to be like, oh, well, where's that guy you were just with? Where's that guy you were just with? Like, nobody can never know what I'm doing. And I think that's also very important too. If you are going to be in cuffing season, don't be a hoe about it. Like during COVID, a lot of my friends, some of them convinced me to be on the dating app. And even still with that, it was like, oh yeah, girl, I went on dating with him. Girl, you went on date with him too. Like, like it's a lot of that. The city is very, very small, especially if you're a high value person. So I think, just being careful on who you spend your time with in any day of the week is more important. It shows your worth and your personal value.
Let me ask you this, Stacey, because this is interesting. Is it possible that there are people who use cuffing season as a shield, barrier, or protection against emotional hurt or the risk of that?
You know what? I was actually just thinking to myself while Jessica was talking, when could cuffing season work? And I think it could work if coochie met penis. If you got coochie and you got penis, the coochie mindset to where, I'm just looking for a good time, like Jack said, that penis mindset. I think if the two people are aligned in the same way, which to me goes back to a value system still, there is still connection that can happen because each person is delivering the needs, their needs first, because coochie showed up wanted only penis, right? And penis showed up wanted only coochie. So if them two people meet, then guess what? I'm back to connection. We got a real connection happening. People are winning from within for what they want, no matter how destructive we believe that may be to their long term. But I mean, the world, I believe in, people getting what they want. And I just said, yeah, actually it could work. If coochie won, met penis won, then, and they got together for cuffing seasons, we got something. We got real connection. And truly, that is really what I fight for, connection. Because each person is getting served from wherever minuscule requirements they operate within their value system, in my opinion, but it works for them. So actually, I just, for the first time, I just said, yes, but coochie got to meet penis.
But good question though. So even with that, right? Sex is an exchange of energy, soul time, right? Like people really don't understand that mindset too. When you humping on all these multiple people, right? That you get their energy too, right?
But coochie and penis not thinking about that. We just align two likes, like and like.
It could be the sexual. It could be if both of you are, as Jack said, peacocks. For example, you want someone to accompany you to the Christmas party because that Stacey's always going to look absolutely fabulous. That Jessica isn't going to embarrass you in front of the Lawyers Guild or the Press Guild, and she's always going to look absolutely fabulous, and that you'll be able to carry on a conversation. And so it could be sexual, it could be for appearances, it could even be someone to keep you company even outside of the sexual, because back to the emotional piece that I mentioned, Stacey, because some people just don't want to be alone.
Yeah. That's when it works. I think we're onto something. I never thought I could agree with cuffing season, but I think we just came up with it. Like, seriously. Jack's analogy was, if peacock one met peacock female met peacock man, then we got connection, project man met project woman, then we got connection. I think we did it. Dang.
But here's the other issue, Jack. If one person is in that cuffing season mode without having the conversation, and the other person is falling for the cupper, for lack of a better term, what happens? What's the danger of that?
Well, it's a lot of danger, because now you're going to have disappointment. Now you're going to have hurt. You're going to have neglect. You're going to have shame, regret, remorse, all of the things, abandonment. And if you don't have clear conversations when you're entering into a relationship, there's always going to be some type of disagreement or conflict. And clarity does away with the chaos. It does away with confusion. And if you're upfront about it, now I know it's a lot of people that say, well, I'm always upfront. I tell people what it is that I want. Do you or do you string someone along just so that they can get a little bit of what it is that you've given so that you can get a little bit more? And I think that if the more clear people are in terms of their habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations, the better relationships that we're going to have. What happens is you have two people that are saying one thing and doing another thing. And then people come into and enter relationships with the expectation of, well, maybe they'll just get it. If we stick around long enough, if they hang around me long enough, they'll just get that I like them. But I don't just like them, I like them. And without having that conversation, because we're afraid to have the conversations because of rejection, because of intimidation, and the intention has to be set in the beginning. In any relationship, in anything that you do, you have to set the intention up front. And if you're intentional about being a peacock, hey, say that. If you're intentional about being a penis, say that. A project, look, this is where I am. This is who I am. Either you can accept it or you can reject it, because I don't want to waste your time. Some of the best words that a man can say to a woman is, I will not waste your time. I will not waste your time. So if you are in and you are in agreement with who it is that I am and where it is that I am in my life, let's do this thing. If not, I'm going to move on, because I don't want to waste your time. That's what a mature, responsible man does in every relationship. But some of these other guys that we're just talking about, they string women out. And then that's where the problems come in. That's when the stalkers and the key in your car and cutting off your cable and calling exes and all of the other bad things that you've heard about when you start watching some of them TV shows. And we don't have to be in those situations if everyone were just honest and upfront with the right intention.
Yeah, and I think, and obviously, particularly you, Jack, and Stacey are the experts. But I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know there's a technical term for what Jack was talking about, Stacey. I think the term is what you want. And if you share that term with the person, what you want,
just like that,
that really is, that's the beginning of that mature person conversation. Stacey, I know I'm going to lose you in a minute or so, but please, talk.
Can I say one? Yeah, can I say one more thing
about that term? What you want?
Yeah, I believe that the problem with what you want, sometimes women tend to think because they are so amazing in business and they are amazing in their careers and school and things, that they can show up and change a man. And I think that sometimes men can, even a peacock can say, I'm a peacock and this is all I want, and I'm a penis and this is all I want. But then women, we, in all of our, magic we feel we carry, we feel like we can change them. And I think, ladies, if you're getting into those cuffing scenarios and you hear a man say that, believe him and ask yourself who you are and what do you want, because that does matter.
Stacey, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
wish I could stay. This is so much fun. Oh my gosh, Harold.
That's quite all right. I'm glad that you were available for the conversation. Love you, sis, and we'll definitely be in touch with you.
Love and light. Jack, so good seeing you.
Good to see you, girl.
Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, bye-bye.
So let me ask you this, Jessica, and I think we kind of touched on it before. Is the opposite of cuffing season a full-blown, intimate, emotional relationship, or is the opposite just staying single and not being involved?
Yeah, the opposite would just be stay single, not being involved. I think it's where you are in your life, right? where do you want to be? Do you want to be in a relationship or you don't want to be in a relationship? Because either way, cuffing season, just being up under somebody, period, is time. And time is one of your biggest gifts and your biggest currency, and you're never going to get that back. So you really need to ask yourself, like Donnell Jones said, where do you want to be? And for me, I'm a lover girl. You know, I don't have time to be in the streets. Like, you know, I live a very structured life. I'm home by 9 o'clock, whether people believe it or not, and I'm in bed. So I don't have time for all of that exchange. And also, I don't have time to give all my great energy out to people, right? So I think it's also knowing, where do you personally want to be in life? And if you don't know that question, then be by yourself until you understand that question, because you don't want to waste anybody's time either. Because as much as men don't talk about it, men get their heart broke all the time. You know, and us as women, we're thinking that this is what we want. In reality, we can't handle it. So, and then we end up ghosting them. So I think what we all need to do is take a step back and put a mirror in front of ourselves and ask ourselves, where do we want, who do we want to be, and where do we see our future going? And then once you answer that, and if you are very unclear, then still stay by yourself until you have that definitive answer, because we shouldn't be wasting anybody's time. We're too old.
So, Jack, for those who are fine with cuffing season or what have you, when it is time for the season to change, then you know, the daylight saving time and all of that, emotionally speaking, or cuffingly speaking. How do you bring it to an end? Do you do it in the definition? It says it's supposed to end on Valentine's Day. But should it end on Valentine's Day? Should it end after New Year's Day? If it's going to come to an end, how do you, as a mature adult, bring it to a close?
I'll say honestly, first of all, and then I'll back that up by saying that yes, it typically ends around the month of February. Statistically, the month of February is the highest month of divorces in all time. And we're not talking about divorces, but it's consistent when it comes to cuffing season. So people break up, and there's a way to break up. And the way I say, you know, I have a whole manifest of how you're supposed to break up.
Well, share. Give me a couple of your top points. I think people will be interested in hearing that.
You want to set the stage, and by setting the stage, I mean understand who this person is and how they're going to respond and react. You don't want to do it on anyone's turf. You want to do it in a mutual playing field, meaning that a public restaurant or something that has people and it doesn't have sharp objects. Oh, wow. That's kind of close by. Because what happens is, if you're at my house or I'm at your house, there's a challenge leaving, right? Like I'm breaking up with you, but we're in this space that we've always shared together, and we don't have the opportunity to leave, or I can't make you leave, and then it's going to be a problem. So you want to do it in a public space. When you're doing this, you want to do it quick. You want to do it fast. You want to get to the point. You don't want to drag this thing out. You don't want to have like a very exquisite dinner or a date that you just had fun and then say, oh yeah, by the way, I've been thinking. That's not the way you do it. If you're going to do it, you do it like you're firing somebody at a job. Call you into the office, and I'm not saying this is the way it should go, but
we're moving in another direction.
No. Yeah. Well, that's true. Like, right. Like, if you think of how you get fired, it's, hey, I'll call you in. You get right to the point. You don't drag it out. You say, I called you in because we're going to have some layoffs, and you're one of them.
Oh, wow. I
want to be able to tell you up front and direct, hey, you've done some really great things. You're a really great person. However, we're going in a different direction in terms of the company. In terms of myself.
Let me just say, for those of you who are listening on the radio, I highly recommend that you go to WHUR.com and look at the video from this, because Jessica's face is worth it all. I mean, she is, oh my gracious. So go ahead, Jessica.
I'm not saying do it that way. I'm saying that because you want to be, this is someone that you spent time with, someone that you've had feelings for, that you shared a lot of moments together. When you do it this way, in terms of being quick, being concise, be honest, and get out and allow that person to process their feelings. When you do it that way, it gives the person some type of respect and some type of perspective versus lingering and just like I've seen people beg before. Like, please, why are you doing this to us? Why you don't do not you don't want that. Because
it's gonna happen. The way you fired me, hello. This is my thing. We got to be honest. We live in the 21st century.
Yep.
Yes.
Ain't nobody gonna break up with you like that. And as many guys I done ran across, they scared to go to dinner. Okay. They like so, or because they scared to hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because now also they said this is not what they wanted, but these were the actions that they began to display, and then they ended up beginning to lead you on. And now we're here. Now they don't know what to do. So that's where this ghosting nonsense comes from, because they cannot face you. They cannot face you by text, by phone, or in person at a coffee shop. So ultimately, I wouldn't say it depends on the person you're dealing with, because once feelings get involved, that's a hard pill. To go to a restaurant or go to somebody's house, especially you breaking up with me, you telling me I ain't gonna get there one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to your house. Right? But
don't go to the house. Don't go to the house.
So how would you suggest that it's done, Jessica?
Well, for one, I think it also depends on the type of person you're dealing with, and that's the problem. We don't realize who we sleeping with until it gets there. I think it depends on the person that you're dealing with. You have to learn what their communication style is. Because my communication style, we could pick up the phone, we could do a Zoom for all that. Like, I don't even want to see you in person if that's the case. Because in person, I might cry in public, right? You may cry in public, I may run after you like Maury, and bash your windows, you don't know. So I think I definitely don't.
And we certainly don't advise that.
No, of course not. But I would never do anything by text. I think text is so disrespectful, so informal. Now, if you're just dealing with somebody who's just a bird, then you treat them how you treat them. But they're used to that because that's how you treated them from the beginning. But if you came into the cuffing situation or whatever your situation is, giving this person the utmost respect, then I think on the exit, you have to give that same respect, no matter how much it's going to hurt that person. I'd rather be hurt now than continue to create memories or continue to get my heart broken as time goes on. So I would definitely strongly suggest giving a call on the phone. I'm a big communicator, and I think that's something that we need to practice as adults, especially adults in relationship with other people, is communication. And where things go wrong is a lot of people don't know how to communicate. And Jack, that way of communication will get you
in trouble.
In the back alley.
No. Okay, it was an analogy. First of all,
baby, no, you did that. You did that.
You don't do that. But I will say, I will say this, because for men, I always say you don't want to catch a case. So I always instruct men, do it in public. Like, seriously, like, do it in a public space that has witnesses, that has because you don't know a person. Like, you think you know a person once their emotions and feelings have gotten hurt. Take separate cars to that place. Like, you need to have, like, you don't need to be traveling together. I've seen this in so many different situations go wrong. So that's why I always say, like, this is the blueprint of, like, do it not like a public spectacle, but it needs to be somewhere that you feel safe and that you feel like you can actually part ways and go your separate ways versus being trapped at her house, which I have seen.
You might block your car in at the restaurant. So you still gonna
say again, Jessica?
You might block your car in at the restaurant. So you still gonna
you need to know how to park. If you know you're gonna do, you need to park around the corner so you know where your car is versus, and she don't know where it is, or do it in like a park. You got a parking garage. It's lots of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think all jokes aside, because Jessica's said something that I think is really, important, that man or woman, that if you've spent quality time with this person, even in a cuffing situation, you don't do that unless there is some sense of liking that person. And even if you wanted to end, you don't want to hurt that person. If you are a decent human being dealing with a decent human being, there is always the chance that feelings will be hurt, and you don't want to do that, even if it was just purely sexual. Even if you were having conversations with this person about things other than your mutual attraction, even if it's Netflix and chill, you can still talk about the Love is Blind series that you two watch together, or Emily in Paris, or whatever it is that you're watching. And so some kind of bond is built there.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you just have to be cautious.
Absolutely.
As I've seen lots of men get caught up in situations that are bad. So when you're dealing with feelings, a lot of things happen.
But men is crazy too now.
That's true. And that's as a woman, again, if you're going to break up with him, you don't want to do it at his house. You don't want to do it at your house.
I can tell him on the phone, and you don't think he's going to come over here and knock on the door?
He might.
which I guess, based on what all of you, including Stacey, we're sharing, is that maybe cuffing, unless there is a full-blown written contract, that it probably isn't the best kind of thing. And even with that, and Jessica made reference to this earlier, that even in a cuffing situation, one of you or both of you may treat each other very well during that time. And it's very, very easy to get used to somebody treating you well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that there has to be an understanding of our intention when we're going into this thing. Most relationships end ugly. Somebody's feelings gets hurt on one side. It's typically the person that's actually doing, that is really no reception of being broken up with, because the person that's doing the breaking up has already committed in their mind that they were going to do that already. So they've done it well before they've actually told the other person. So I think that coming into a situation with understanding, with intention and honesty is extremely important. And I don't care if it's cuffing or if it's a relationship, you have to be intentional about what it is that you're trying to do. And if there's no other word that you remember, just intention, intention, intention.
There you go. I'm going to have to let that be the last word. But Jack Daniels, Jessica Brown, thank you both for sharing your insight and entertaining us as well. I think this is a really great way to end the week. Also, we want to thank Dr. Stacey J. Johnson for her participation as well. You all take care now. That is the Daily Drum on this Friday, November 15th. For News Director Renee Nash, reporters Millette Green and Bramante Bryant, I'm Harold Fisher. Good night and have a wonderful weekend.